When Rachel first saw the house at the edge of the world, she thought the place was breathing. Fog lay low on the ground, wrapping around the dilapidated structure with its sagging roof. Rotten boards creaked under the gusts of wind, as if complaining about their age. Rachel's eyes lingered on a window on the second floor. Something inside moved. But when she looked closer, there was nothing there. When Rachel first saw the house at the edge of the world, something inside moved. But when she looked closer, there was nothing there, just reflections of light. She had come here at the request of her late Uncle Henry. His will stated, "Rachel, if you are reading this letter, it means I am dead. The house at the edge of the world is yours. But be careful. This house does not like to be disturbed." Rachel laughed at the last phrase. What could be scary about an old house? Perhaps Uncle Henry just wanted to add some drama. But now, standing in front of the peeling door, she felt a strange tension. The key to the door, shiny and new, was as cold as ice. Inside, everything was even more oppressive. The floor was covered with a thick layer of dust, and the walls were lined with peeling wallpaper that seemed almost alive. Rachel coughed, raising a cloud of dust, and headed for the stairs. The whole house was permeated with the smell of dampness and something more sinister, like rotting earth. She decided to start with the attic. Forgotten things always intrigued her. In the attic, she found an old doll with empty eyes covered in cobwebs. The doll seemed to be looking at her, its cracked plastic lips forming a sinister smile. Rachel set it back in place, feeling an unpleasant chill on her spine. When she went downstairs, it seemed to her that the house had changed. The hallway had become longer, and doors that had been closed before were now ajar. Whispering came from one of the rooms. Rachel tensed. She lived alone. "Is someone here?" she called, trying to sound confident. The whispering stopped. She entered the room and saw an antique mirror in a massive frame lying on the floor. Rachel bent down to pick it up, and her heart skipped a beat. The mirror reflected the room, but she was not in it. Instead, there was a man in old-fashioned clothes, his face hidden in shadow. She recoiled, and the mirror fell but did not break. Rachel fled the room, but the house seemed to be playing with her. The staircase had vanished, replaced by a narrow corridor stretching into darkness. Rachel's heart pounded wildly, but she forced herself to move forward. The corridor led her to a room she had never seen before. In the center stood a round table with a book on it. The book looked as though its pages were made of skin. The cover bore neither title nor author, only a strange symbol resembling a spiral. When she touched the book, the house shook. Cracking sounds came from everywhere, as if the walls were beginning to collapse. Rachel heard footsteps behind her and turned around. Standing in the doorway was the man from the mirror. Now she could see his face. It was dead, but his eyes burned with a bright red light. "You should not have touched that," he said, his voice like the rustle of dry leaves. Rachel tried to run from the room, but he raised his hand, and the door slammed shut in front of her. The man moved closer, each step seeming to draw warmth from the air. Rachel felt her body growing colder. "What do you want?" she screamed. "You woke me," he said, his lips curling into a dead smile. "Now you are part of this house." Suddenly, she felt something pulling her back. The floor beneath her vanished, and she fell. Darkness enveloped her, and when she opened her eyes, she was standing in front of the house again. But something was wrong. Her body felt light, like smoke. She looked down and saw her legs dissolving into the air. Rachel ran to the window to see her reflection, but instead, the man from the mirror was there. She screamed, but the sound of her voice did not reach her ears. The house had absorbed her into its walls. Now Rachel was part of the house, at the edge of the world. And the house was waiting for its next victim.